Yeah, it's tough to describe the energy that was in the building tonight. It was a little bit different. Maybe they listened to Fish, but I don't even know if the numbers were bigger because it was a Monday. But the energy was insane. Our guys' response to being down was equally insane. But probably the biggest thing I think were guys doing things they struggled throughout the year doing. Well, 1 through 9, and then our guys that are just willing to take the ball. It's a weird. I'm telling you, it is a weird deal on this staff to have that many guys that want the ball no matter what day it is or what the circumstances are. Snead was willing to go 100 pitches today. I feel for the guys that didn't get action because everybody was available. Marcus Phillips, it would have had to be like, I don't know. And even Arv was joking around about being out there. So I know it's in a unique way because, Frank is pretty hard on these guys and he gets results out of it. But there's a lot of trust and a lot of love there between the pitchers and Coach A, and of course there's other people that help out too. So maybe that's got something to do with it, that they want to pitch for the boys and not just themselves, which I greatly appreciate and benefited from today as well.
Questions? We'll start with Ben here in the second row and then go to David.
Tony, I know you just touched on that, but what did it mean to you for AJ to take the baseball on short rest, Liam take it on short rest? What did you see from them, and what was it like kind of jumping into Liam's arms out there in the outfield afterwards?
Yeah, the first part, it was interesting because we just kind of, I'm not a big fan of the shenanigans with the starting pitcher thing. I know they kind of mentioned who would go for them in the presser, but honest answers this weekend, I'd like to hear everyone's opinion. There's a lot of people in this building that help out. Some get paid, some don't. And value everybody's opinion, and then also needed to communicate with guys like who's good to go. And there wasn't anybody that was backing down, and AJ's probably got the most unique circumstances. So, again, it's been a quirky year for him, but we're sitting where we're sitting. He's going to throw again for us, and I think the guys need to give him props for what he did today because, again, it's just been tough. He's had to come back from injury. Last year he did everything for us that he could. And it meant a lot to see him out there. And then Krenzel, again, maybe because he's been around his dad, was absolutely fearless. And we've run Doyle through the ringer this year. And, again, always wants the ball and did a great job. T. Frank was huge in there, too. But jumping into Big Boy's arms was fun and foolish. I'm sure someone won't like it on Twitter or whatever. But, there's a lot of moments where we calm the excitement we have going on. And there's a lot of sacrifice and a lot of hard work. So the boys don't need to be doing anything too crazy tonight. But they need to enjoy it. All kids should enjoy it. You hit a homer 450 feet, 450 feet, it's a new day and age. Maybe you look at it for a second. But anyway, I had fun doing it. I love them. I love these three guys sitting next to me, but the two to my left would agree Liam's a very unique character, and I'm blessed to have him in my life. And Manny just don't say as much to me as these other guys, but I've said it before. Maybe you're not supposed to say this as a coach, but I've told a bunch of people, like Kyle Peterson, he's probably better than all of them. He's just a young pup, so it'll be fun to watch him grow up. But he's taken a lot of pride in his weight, and he wouldn't have been able to hit that ball over the fence the opposite field in the fall. Sorry to skip ahead there. Someone had a question about the homer.
I know. Liam, I had a few for you. One, why'd you want the ball so bad tonight? And two, do you have the ball that you finished with in the pocket? Was that what you have?
Maybe.
And why'd you keep it? Why'd you keep it, and where's it going?
Probably to my mom, and just keep it for good memories. First time making it to a super regional with a team. Me and Andrew took, wouldn't say a risk, but like a smart decision entering the transfer portal this year and coming to a spot where we knew we wanted to win. That's all it was about. We wanted to win. We wanted to come to a spot that has won in the past and done great here. So I wanted the ball. I knew I could win for my team and put it all on the line out there tonight.
Ryan.
Tony, you mentioned Krenzel. How significant was that 1, 2, 3 inning in the fourth inning after kind of the gut punch of not getting as much as I'm sure y'all wanted in the bases loaded opportunity?
It reminded me of a couple of his other outings early in the year. ETSU was one. I know it didn't come out the way we wanted. That was the one non-conference game we lost. But they had a great team this year, and he came in and just changed the whole tune. And he did the same thing today. And there's been a couple of them like that. Alabama was like that. Alabama was in there competing, but on day 3 in Tuscaloosa, it was kind of almost like it turned it into a one-sided game when he got out there. So these guys know that have faced them. The two to my left, it's nasty stuff. It's just about him having the presence, that he had today, which he's done it several times.
Go to the left with Carlos.
Coach Tony, buenas noches.
Yeah. Don't make me look like an idiot, dude. We were talking down the hallway. I need room for air. There's too many cameras and everything.
What has done just before too much. Hey, many of us have been around sports and played and know how difficult it is to stay consistent throughout tournament play. What does this victory mean to you and the team to go to another super regional?
Yeah, I think we did it in a different style, and it is just a tournament. We just got done with one in Hoover, and we had a winning record, but it didn't end well. We could have done better there, but I think we learned from it. And then this is a new style for us. We hadn't done it this way at home. It's good to face that adversity a little bit. And there's some magic moments that took place in this building as it's being reconstructed. We're kind of going through some things. But yeah, I like winning in tournaments. Trust me. You name the tournament, it's fun. But also, this is a game based off sample size. And I think it's only fair to judge people. And it's not just this game. Coach Barnes is a phenomenal example. His office not too far from us is, you get into a tournament, crazy things can happen. Like tonight or last night, how many crazy things happened. But to do things that are measurably over a consistent amount of time is something I'm shooting for at a younger age. But props to the coaches that have done that.
Manny, I heard it from Coach, but as a young guy, you came up in a big spot and hit a huge home run to kind of break the game open. And then, Andrew, you kind of built on top of that with a home run yourself. For both you guys, but starting with Manny, how does it feel just to come up huge in that moment, and then Andrew to follow it up? How did that feel?
I mean, it feels good. It's where I wanted to be, the moment. That's why you come here to Tennessee. And I looked on deck. I looked in the corner of my eye, and Fischer was there just like this, and I knew after his energy was given, it was going to be good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I rarely try to, tinker with the freshmen when they're on the on deck circle. Like Coach said, they're still pups out there and they're still figuring it out. But I looked at Manny, and sometimes you never really know what's going through his head because he doesn't really say much. But he just kind of had a little bit of a different presence about him in the on deck circle. And when he looked at me, he just kind of nodded, and I was like, "Let's go, let's do this." And then he just got it done, and I lost my mind. I think from that moment, when he hit the ball, to I think Doyle's first out recorded, I just blacked out. Don't remember any of it. So, yeah, just super happy for him.
Paige and Mike.
Liam, just what was it like having Tony embrace him when he jumped on you and maybe a couple hard punches from him? And then, Andrew, how was the crowd tonight?
It was terrible. Just not the guy I wanted to see there. No, it was pretty awesome. Came here to play for that guy. Huge reason why I'm here still, and love him to death. And wouldn't want to play for any other coach. It's been a true treat this year just to be under his presence.
The punches were hard. You agree?
Nah, you got to work with hot sauce. That was terrible.
I was definitely pleased with the crowd tonight. Like Coach said, it's a different kind of atmosphere, and when you got, obviously there's only 9 guys out there on the field, but like Coach said, we got 50 guys willing to put anything on the line to win that game. Guys willing to risk whatever's happening with their arm or whatever, and they're not supposed to be out there in that spot, but we just got literally 50 guys that are the definition of what the sign says up here is I'll give my all for Tennessee. And I was just happy the way the crowd showed up and was behind us, and it really swung some of our momentum. And obviously these guys, they deserve, whether we play here again or not, moving forward for the next season and the season after that, I mean, the crowd should be like that every single time. We work too hard for that to not be the case.
One for Liam and one for Tony. Liam, why was it so important to you that you could pitch in this game, and why did you make that known last night? And Tony, what was the vision for Liam tonight? Was it a guarantee he would pitch? Was it a situation? And what was your thought going into it?
Just knew I was very prepared for the moment. I feel like I've gone through a ring now in the SEC, being there for 2 years, took in a lot of information last year, my first year, had some up and downs, and knew after all the build-up after this year, I'd be ready for what was my task. And, arm felt good enough yesterday, arm felt great today, and just going out there and giving my team a chance to win. And really, Coach had the trust in me to go out there and close the game for us tonight.
Oh, well, I don't want to answer now that he said that. To be honest with you, a possible plan A was him starting the 5th and being in the middle of the game. And so, I mean, just being – I'd trust the guy with anything you could come up with, but I also care about him and didn't want to be in a position where he'd stretch out the pitch count a little bit too much. And also, didn't necessarily want to put him in a spot where it'd be a tough one for him. But that sounds foolish saying it now. Also, AJ was supposed to get past Wentz, and he kind of tricked me. I mean, if we make a catch in the outfield, Bargo's hammy's barking a little bit. We disagreed with something that happened, so Russell kind of tricked me, and I left him out there too long, so I regret that. And Krenz was kind of at the end of his rope, too. So these kids have made a bunch of mistakes all year long. I think Fish kind of alluded to it a little bit. Our fans should appreciate consistency and not expect dominance in any sport. I know it's an SEC school, so that's going to fall on deaf ears. But they make mistakes. But like Fish said, they work their butts off, and there's a lot of passion. And at the very least, they're playing for each other as much as anything, and they're playing for UT right after that. And they're a very close 1-2, I can tell you that. So I made mistakes tonight. I wish I could have made it a 0, although this lineup, the Wake Scott's impossible to make it 9 zeros. But could have made a couple decisions different, but wouldn't have it any other way having Liam throw the last pitch.
Sam on the third row and then to Ben.
For Andrew, Liam touched on, the risks you guys took coming here. He talked a little bit about it for you, but to go out this way with what he did on the mound, what you've done so far this postseason, just how rewarding is it to go through this with him?
Yeah, I don't really know how much of a risk it was, right? Like, I feel very confident making that decision, and I think he did as well. And that was kind of part of our decision. Like, when we both looked at each other and we're trying to go do something together, it just made the most sense to us. We felt great about it, and we're here now and ready for opportunities to come moving forward. What was the second part of your question again?
Just how rewarding is it to go through this process with him and
Yeah.
how you guys played tonight?
I mean, he's my best friend. We lived together this year, last year. It's an amazing feeling, and I respect him more than I can describe with words. He like I said, he works really hard, and obviously you guys can see the results out there on the field. He's the best pitcher in the country. There's no one else I'd rather have the ball.
Tony, what was the explanation you were given as to why Cannon was ejected?
I was kind of wondering if we could post Liam's appearance against Fish when they were freshmen. That's why he's saying he's the best pitcher in the country, because of how that at-bat resulted. I can send it to whoever would like it. But the catcher celebrated the strikeout, as he should. We're in a regional, and Cannon said something back to him, as he should not. But, probably what he said to the catcher is something both dugouts said back and forth to one another the whole night long. So I don't know if it had to do something with a warning being out there or not. But so, I mean, I've sat in here, the Notre Dame game for one, which is relevant. I've sat in here, and I'd like to think these kids would say I've got their back as much as any coach they've been around, but it was foolish. First of all, take your walk, and then, because the ball wasn't close to being a strike, and then have some composure, especially in that situation, playing the scoreboard. But Cannon's always going to err on the side of working hard, if not working too hard, and playing hard, if not playing too hard. So it was a foolish mistake, and to be honest with you, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is Stone Lawless is probably up for Teammate of the Year award again 2 years in a row. He got some action, and he deserves it, and he's fully capable back there too.
And your initial thoughts on going back to Arkansas?
I guess did they win?
Yes.
Okay.
They won last night.
So, I mean, not that I didn't expect them to. I mean, I've talked to those guys before all this started, but I didn't know it was complete. When you're in the backyard, at least the neighborhood I grew up in, it was still kind of everybody meets out on the street and you play a bunch of games. And whenever I lost, maybe my dad did it to me, I was kind of a little punk. But I always wanted to, let's run it back. Let's redo it. So at the very least, my first reaction is we want to be playing this time of year, as does anybody that's left. I don't know if any other games are still going on. I haven't followed much of that stuff, but it's a blessing to be playing. And this team has been confident going on the road, but at the very least, they get a chance to redo the thing.
For Manny, just watching you this weekend, it felt like you were getting better and better every game, culminating in tonight. So when you look back at this regional experience, what do you think you can take away from it?
I think I could take away slowing the game down for sure, and using every advantage that you have, even if it's a timeout, to slow the game down and just help you do what you know you can do.
Ryan.
Tony, with Manny, Braden, Levi got on base twice. Just what does it say about those guys in that moment as freshmen to play as well as they did?
Yeah, well, again, I feel for the guys who didn't get action. We yelled at these guys in the fall. Now, it wasn't these two guys, but we yelled at them in the fall, and the topic of conversation was some of the freshmen were showing less fear or were playing more fearless than some of the older guys. And, Tegan has that unique composure and competitiveness and isn't scared. And Newey certainly does. I don't think that kid's ever been scared of anything in his life. But now this time of year, whether it's the ones you mentioned or the other ones that maybe didn't get credit, they're not really freshmen anymore. I mean, they've had to play through the SEC, and it's hell. Coach Van Horn and I had that conversation last time we were in Fayetteville. It was the last weekend of the year, and it's by week 10, you could be the biggest competitor. You're kind of ready to move on to something else, or at least you can see the light at the end of the tunnel moving on to Hoover. So the teammates, the league, and their work ethic have got them in a spot where that's who they are now.